The door handle turned and my mother's voice cracked through the wall like a whip. Get her out of sight. Now, before he sees her. I wasn't who they thought I was. But to understand this, you need to know how it started. I was 17 the night my parents told me to stay upstairs. It wasn't unusual, exactly. My father was a real estate developer, the kind of man who threw dinner parties as business strategy. Big house, catered food, string quartet in the corner playing music nobody actually listened to. I'd been sent upstairs for parties like this since I was a kid. Grown-up talk, my mother used to call it, smiling like she was doing me a favor. But this night was different. This night, my mother came into my room an hour before the guests arrived, and she wasn't smiling. Stay up here, she said. All night. Don't come down, not even for water. I mean it, Mara. Why? Who's coming? She hesitated. And that hesitation was the first crack in a story I'd been told my whole life. Investors, she said finally. Important people. Your father needs this deal. Please, just stay out of sight. Something in her voice sat wrong with me. Like she was rehearsing the line rather than saying it, so I did what any bored teenager would do. I cracked my door and I listened. The house filled up around 7. Laughter drifted up the stairwell, ice clinking in glasses, my father's voice doing the thing he did with important guests. Too loud, too warm, over-explaining every joke. I recognized a few names as they arrived. A city councilman. A woman who owned half the shopping centers in the county, then a name I didn't recognize at all. A name that made the whole downstairs go quiet. For a second when the housekeeper announced, Mr. Callahan, I heard my father practically sprint to the door. I didn't think much of it. I was 17. I had homework and a phone and zero interest in my father's business. I put my earbuds in and let the party become background noise. It was maybe 10 o'clock when I heard footsteps outside my room. Quick clipped at my mother's anxious walk. She didn't knock. She just opened the door like she expected to catch me doing something wrong. Is your light off? She whispered. What? Turn it off. And don't... She stopped herself. Just stay quiet. She left before I could ask why. I didn't listen. Not fully, I crept onto the landing that looked down over the front hall through a gap in the railing, a spot I'd used since I was small to spy on parties I wasn't allowed to attend, and that's when I saw him. Silver-haired, expensively dressed in a way that wasn't flashy but was unmistakably costly. Unlike the other guests, he wasn't loud. He stood near the fireplace holding a drink he wasn't drinking, scanning the room like he was cataloging it. My father hovered near him all night, laughing a beat too quickly at everything the man said. Then Mr. Callahan's eyes drifted up. Toward the stairs. Toward me. I froze. He didn't react, just kept scanning, the way you'd glance at a bookshelf without reading the titles. My father said something, and his attention snapped back. The moment passed, but my mother had seen it too. She was standing near the kitchen doorway, and when his eyes went to the stairs, her whole body went rigid, like a rabbit that just heard a hawk. I went back to bed with a knot in my stomach I couldn't explain. The next morning, I found out Mr. Callahan had asked about me. I was eating cereal when my father walked in looking like he hadn't slept. My mother was already there, arms crossed. The two of them stopped talking the instant I entered. That silence, I'd know it anywhere now. It was the sound of a conversation that had been about me. What's going on? I asked. Nothing, my mother said, too fast. It took 3 more days of asking before she finally sat me down and told me the truth. Or part of it. Mr. Callahan isn't just an investor, she said, hands shaking around her coffee mug. He was involved in your adoption. A long time ago. Before we had the arrangement we have now. I stared at her. My adoption? I'd always known I was adopted. It was never hidden exactly. Just a fact stated once when I was small and never mentioned again. I never thought much about the specifics. I had parents. That had always felt like enough. He arranged it, my mother said. Privately. Not through the agency we told you. He knew your birth mother. He's known where you were this whole time. Why is he asking now? After 17 years? Her eyes filled with tears, and for the first time in my life, I watched my mother look afraid of another human being. Because, she whispered, he's dying. And before he goes, he wants to tell you who you really are. I won't pretend the weeks that followed were easy. Here's what I learned. My birth mother had been Mr. Callahan's daughter. Young, estranged from her wealthy father, pregnant and scared, determined her child would not grow up inside a family that had made her miserable. She'd asked my parents, old family friends of the Callahans, people she trusted completely, to raise me quietly, away from money and expectation and a grandfather she never wanted me to know. My parents agreed on one condition of their own, that it be permanent. No swooping in later to reclaim a childhood that wasn't his, for 17 years. That agreement held, until a dying man decided he couldn't leave this world without knowing his granddaughter. That's why they hid me from the party. Not because I'd done anything wrong, because the moment Mr. Callahan saw my face, he'd know. And once he knew, everything my parents built to protect me could unravel in a single conversation. I met him properly 2 weeks later. Not at a party. In a study that smelled like old books, with my parents sitting stiffly on a couch nearby, waiting to be told they'd done something wrong. He didn't apologize for the party. He just looked at me the way he had from across that room, except now I understood exactly what he'd been looking for. "You have her eyes," he finally said. My daughters. What I know now is this. My parents didn't hide me that night to punish me. They hid me because they loved me enough to be terrified of losing me. To a man, a name, a fortune, a version of my life they never signed up to share. I chose to know him. I didn't choose to become someone else. Mr. Callahan passed away 8 months later. He left me a letter, a small trust, and something I didn't expect. An apology addressed not to me, but to the two people who'd spent 17 years raising a child that had also, once, been his. My mother still doesn't like to talk about that night. But sometimes, in quiet moments, she brings it up herself. I was so scared, she told me once. Not of losing the business deal, of losing you. She never had to. But I understand now why she hid me. And I understand finally why he asked.